The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk.
Yeah, welcome. The TV, our monitor's not working out here. So again, welcome to live television. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And TBIM. Too bad it's Monday.
Yeah, really.
And it's budget day. Well, I'll tell you, we just got so much to talk about.
Well, you know, I received numerous phone calls after 8:30 this morning, and I posted it immediately as I started getting information. Several people in City Hall, in Government Center, called me saying that Mary Sahadi started making phone calls to various city councilors in regards to a budget change. And I'm like, a budget change? The day of the hearings? That seems to be a little eh. And accordingly to multiple sources, the mayor was going to ask that the entire budget be reprinted and paid to, delivered to the city council. Now, I contacted the city clerk's office at 9 a.m. and I requested a copy of the new budget. They're like, what new budget? All we got was a sheet, and it's a one-page sheet showing some changes. But I want to make a comment on these changes real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right here where it says, forgotten in the budget.
Well, you know, there's something that will just build up everybody's confidence about a budget that's already severely in question.
Right.
They missed these things. They had to. So what really should happen at tonight's meeting is there should be a motion to table this budget immediately, a second, no debate because it's a non-debatable motion.
That's right.
And they should exercise their right to a 30-day period to examine the budget, because obviously this budget is an absolute disaster.
Well, I think it's great because
incredibly, this is absolutely ridiculous. Well, and anybody who takes even a cursory look at this budget can see so many holes in it. It looks like Swiss cheese.
Oh, I know. And the thing I think is funny is, and we've said this over and over again, Mary Sahadi, you know, she's responsible for this.
Well, she missed something? You mean like they did in '91? I mean, you know, they got a history of missing things.
Yeah,
didn't we cover this?
She's going to be the chief financial officer.
Didn't we
we're going to get worse
this?
than John Noons.
Yeah, didn't we cover this on numerous shows, and we went over all the things that they missed previously when they were doing the annual audit? Well, again, they're missing things, and obviously this is not a well-thought-out budget, because in reality, the new budget should be begun at least 6 months prior to the new fiscal year. Every department head should be required to put in a preliminary budget at least 6 months before. And it should be gone over by the city's financial team. And that budget every I should be dotted and every T should be crossed well before it's ever presented to the city council, which it should be presented in a timely fashion with plenty of time for them to review everything. And I mean, if you look at this stuff, I mean, they're just hoping nobody reads this thing. I mean, you know, you've got it. I know you've got it in the control room, CJ, but they got the revenue budget comparison.
Yes, I have that.
And they've got, now, look, if anybody go online and go to their bar graph here, because this is, I mean, this is absolutely ludicrous. They've got the decrease in household fees. Wow, everybody clap. And our mayor's going to say, look, I decreased household fees.
By $3.72 million.
$3.7 million. But guess what? You look over on the other side, and it's an increase in real estate taxes. Net of allowances for abatements, $3.5 million. So guess what? Guess how much you saved, guys? Like $200,000. So, you know, there goes your savings. And of course, you've got all those other fees in non-real estate issues.
Right.
So forget about it. We lost money again. The taxpayer again took it and it took us.
Yeah,
so,
but
you know, here we go. And they actually had the audacity to put it in a bar graph. I mean, they're showing us, they're giving us a picture.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that when you look at that bar graph also, there's an increase in local receipts. That's because that's more fees.
Yeah, of course.
So you're not saving any money, people.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a $10 a month fee on each apartment, okay, on each residential unit, which was $3.7 million. And guess what? The mayor said, well, we're going to get rid of it. And we asked, way back when he said we're going to, you know, he's going to get rid of this, where's he going to get the revenue from? That's where he's going to jack up everything else. So you're not saving a dime, only this time it's being passed on directly in another form. So guess what? Bend over, because there's no Surgy Lube, there's no KY, and you're going to take it dry, baby, and you're going to take it hard.
Isn't it amazing that they miss things that are in operating budgets and in budgets that they're supposed to be tracking, and they give you an entire sheet of corrections, but they never miss a tax increase.
No.
Or a fee increase. They're always right on the money with those things, aren't they? They know exactly how much they're going to raise taxes. They know exactly how much they're going to raise fees.
You know, I will give him a little bit of credit, though. He honestly could not foresee the fact that $21,500,000 was going to be transferred from the school department to the city side for health insurance. Wait a minute. I think it was already on the city side. We just didn't call it that. We said it was in the school department.
That's right.
It was there already.
Another shell game with money and another excuse. It's all in the same pool. But you know, it's just mind-boggling that they believe that nobody looks at these things. I mean, if we look at the comparison of the FY16 to FY17 budget, you see all the departments are in the negative category, even though they're not. If you look closely, you'll find that there are people in it that have gotten 40% pay raises. All the right people. One salary went from $64,000 to $90,000. We've had salary increases, but if you look, they've got a negative in virtually in all the departments except the mayor's office and administrative fees. If you look at that, I think you have the paper. It's one of the papers I don't have. I believe it's a 16 and a 13% increase.
Right.
So we have overall in the mayor's operating expenses a 29% increase in operating costs. You know something, Mr. Mayor? That's what I call a reorganization.
That's right. And you know, the thing that gets me and it makes me sick is the fact that the mayor in this budget transferred the mayor's office and the mayor's office budget into administrative services. Now, why would the mayor do that when it was always a separate line item?
To hide it.
Of course.
And hope people miss it.
That's right. So you can move the money around.
That's right.
Now he can move money from administrative services, salaries and whatnot, anywhere he wants without city council approval. Because there it is.
Yes.
Okay? This is how you take control of the money and tell the city council, bend over, baby. We're not going to grease you. We're just going to give it to you hard. And I'm tired of it.
So again, what do we have here? It's proven again that the city, and we can go back to '91 when they testified under oath, that it was not a real budget. It was a reconciliation or a recreation. What they did was they all sat down and made numbers. You know, they looked at the numbers and they said, let's put all these numbers together, figure out how we can make an add up. We got a starting number, we got an ending number, and we'll just plug in all kinds of numbers in between, and they're going to be close, but who cares? And rather than have a budget that's been worked upon for months, which you should, because let's face it, people, the most important thing this city does, and I don't mean politically, which is give everybody you know a job. I mean the most important thing this city should do, or any city should do, is prepare a budget. Because that's what sustains the city and its services and its public safety and all other aspects of the community. They have a fiduciary responsibility to do this, and it's obvious. This isn't the 11th hour. This is the 11th hour and 59 minutes. They're giving the city council changes and things that they missed. Well, guess what? If we look a little closer, how many other things did they miss? Did they do a bar graph of the people that they gave special raises to, that are in 45% pay raises. How did the guy manage to go from 64,000 to 90,000, but the department has a lower operating cost? It's because, as usual, the mayor's MO is to lay off all the people who do the work and give the people that he's friendly with gigantic pay raises and give a few other people jobs and say we have an overall savings. Well, we don't have an overall savings in the services to the city, because when you lay the people off that do all the work and you hire people to take up space and collect money, you are not providing what the taxpayer pays for, which are services. And, you know, this again, this budget is just, it's catastrophic, I'm telling you. It's just, you know, you look at it and you look at the pay raise and you look at and it's not the end. He's got a 16%, 16 point something and a 13 point something, so we'll round it off to 30% increase in his operating costs, and that doesn't include a couple of the jobs he's gonna make later.
Well,
and there's a couple of positions that are in ordinance that don't appear in the budget. And that is against the law, because if it's an ordinance, you have to show it. If it's vacant, you have to put it that it's vacant. It can't not appear.
That's right.
You know, and you know, all these kind of things that when you look at a budget and you see this stuff, I mean, it's just, it's horrific. And I know, CJ, you have a friend, an acquaintance, who is a forensic auditor with very good credentials.
Yes.
And you gave him the contract for trash privatization to look over. You want to share a few of the comments that he made to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I sent him the contract, last year's budget, this year's budget. I had to put them all in what we call a drop file because they're so large. And he went through them all, and I had to actually fight to get the contract. But I did get it finally. The city, matter of fact, Faust and all of them did not provide it to me, but I did get it. But I sent it to him, and within probably an hour after he got it, I got the WTF message. And he didn't put it there as WTF. He actually spelt it out. He goes, "What is this? This is fiction." And I'm going, you know, I have here copies of many of the pictures in the budget from last year and then from this year that we're looking at. And I'm going to bring one of them up right now just to show you last year's budget. This is from last year's budget, okay? And if you look at the items that are highlighted in red, okay, because we're trying to figure out where the mayor got his money from last year and this year. You know, vehicles, repairs, and maintenance. 26, you can get 126,325 or 323,000. And then you have also parts and accessories, $110,000. That does not include oil changes, tires, tune-ups, anything like that. Then you have a thing called other repairs and maintenance. Okay, that was $20,000. Now, they're assuming that that is probably for the trash containers, but we don't know, because again, it's not clearly marked. Then you get down to the blue section, the blue highlights, which are listed as general vehicle operating expenses. $245,000 for gasoline and energy supplies, and $75,000 for tires, oils, batteries, and antifreeze. That's a lot of money, okay? That's a significant chunk of change. Now, when we looked at that, and we said, well, what is that? My friend, who, again, has been doing this for years, and has really looked at some of the greatest financial firms in the country and threw them under the bus. You know, our reviewer believes, and I posted this on the Weekend Flush, so if you're not subscribing to the Weekend Flush, please do, because these graphics and everything are there. But our reviewer believes that with all the data presented, in general, the city is budgeting $6.7 million today, of about which 2.7 is for disposal costs, $250,000 is for debt service, leaving $3.76 million for the cost of pickup. He has declared this the easy sleazy deal. Jay's sleazy deal will have the city paying an average of $4.5 million annually for pickup over a 10-year contract period. This is the actual amortization of the 10-year contract. Because what the mayor did here was he put the savings on the front end of the contract. That way he can sell it. Okay? But in the back end of the contract, again, bend over because you're not getting any loot.
Yeah, it's called lowballing in the industry.
That's
what,
right.
That's what healthcare providers come in and give you a lowball estimate to get their foot in the door. Then after they're locked in, and they get their first couple of years in at the lowball figure, and then they own you. And this is what happened with snow removal. This is what happened with the dump. And again, you're misleading the public. And as I said, there's way too many numbers for our people to follow. I suggest that you get on, and you look at the weekend flush, you look at these numbers. But the thing is, the bottom line here is we have a forensic, and that's not a swear, by the way. I mean, as much as these politicians like to say, run around and hold their head when you mention forensic and say it's criminal, it's criminal. It's not criminal. A forensic audit is an audit that looks at compliance with the law. So in other words, it's the audit you should do periodically with the city to ensure that the people who have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens of Fall River are complying with laws like on bidding and what they're doing with the city's money. You can't transfer money without going through a process. So in reality, a forensic audit is in fact necessary periodically. Once you do a very thorough one, it's not very often as long as you have a very clear budget that everybody can understand, but it's a necessity. And this individual, I believe, did you say that he actually audited Goldman Sachs?
Yes, he has.
So Goldman Sachs is a pretty big name.
J.P. Morgan.
And J.P. Morgan. Those are pretty big companies. So even if you say, well, that's his numbers, we have our numbers. Well, our
numbers come from Sahadi.
Our track record is not very good, but at least it raises questions. And it raises questions about this entire contract.
I got to bring something else, though, Chip, because, it's interesting because, again, our reviewer said to do it this way, it smacks of kicking the costs down the road while taking the benefits up front. A common political trick. Not only is this a common political trick, it's the way Fall River regularly does business, is what it was my reply to him. Now, in looking over this comparison, and this happens to be from where? This happens to be from the mayor. Okay? So let's look at, you really have to stop laughing at this stuff. But this is the DCM sanitation budget. Electricity, there's nothing. Fiscal year projection, $6,400. Now, in 16, there was no cost. Now there's a $6,400 cost. In heat, $8,300 cost. Again, nothing, and now we have something. Building and grounds. In 16, we had $5,015 proposed budget, in the revised budget. The actual through March 31st was $7,187. Now there's nothing because we divided the departments. Vehicles, repairs, and maintenance. Here it says $126,325, but the numbers in the budget for 2016 don't show that. And $121,447 on March of this year. Other repairs, $20,000. Communication lines and equipment, $70,000. So far, they've only used $1,082. Wow. I wonder what type of communications that is. Now, here's where we get into some interesting stuff under the new budget. Advertising was $7,150. So far this year, they went up to $10,036. And their projection is $12,400. Why? Because they got to send out notifications to the residents. You're not using the purple bags.
Well, that's technically not advertising. I hate to tell them
I know.
That's billing, but
Other professional services was $135,000. Actual cost so far this year in March, $311,000. A great budget. Proposed for 17 is $3,300, which is the sleazy deal. Okay. Other purchase services, other professional services, other purchase services, $1,723,666, and actual so far is $1,382,367. Proposed is $201,000. That's going to be the estimated disposal cost based on the current contract. Here's where I have a problem with this. the tonnage is expected to increase. So you've got that, and that's fine. But other purchase services, such as pay as you throw, is $475. So far in 2016, they've got $270, $579. They're projecting $480 for 2017. Now, with the strict enforcement, shouldn't that also be a little higher as well, because everyone should be using them?
Well, look, CJ, we're speculating on accuracy, and we know that we have a proven track record of underestimating when it benefits them and overestimating when it benefits them. It's just like we go down to the long-term and short-term debt. Now, we've been told a few times now that we only pay interest. So in reality, all our debt, it's not what
it's not paid.
It's not paid, and these numbers are way. What are these numbers? What are they for? This is why I continue to say that the budgetary process should be, as I said, every department head should, as far as I'm concerned, a department head should begin his next year's budget right after this year's budget's approved. But a minimum of 6 months before, there should be a budget prepared to submit to the city for the financial team to go over and begin to look at the budget and have a budget completely researched and all the numbers checked. But as I said, as we've said numerous times, these budgets and these numbers, and you have a man who is a professional forensic auditor who basically says this budget is absolute BS. All these numbers are in question, and that doesn't even take into consideration the early termination fee that we spoke about on the last show, which depending on what year can be well over $1 million.
1.7, I believe, is the highest.
Yeah, 1.7 is the high, I think. It may, and depending on what year it's canceled, and then they want to lock us into that contract. So if we get them for 3 or 4 years and they do what this auditor says, they front-end load the savings, and now when we begin to get hit with somebody starts screaming, well, we got to get rid of them, you know something? They might say, good, see you later, because we're going to get an early termination fee and we don't have to do any more work, and we're going to make $1 million a year off you clowns because you locked yourself in. Who in this city writes contracts? Because whoever writes the contracts writes them for the benefit of the vendor, not for the city of Fall River and the taxpayers. Because how many times have we heard, we can't get out of this guy's contract because the buyout's too much, we can't get out of this contract because we're locked in because of this language, and now we want to enter into another contract which the numbers have been exposed as being flawed, the termination fee excessive, the length ridiculous, but here we go. Just on that section of the budget alone, this budget should get shot down like a Japanese zero in the Pacific.
It should get shot down today. But, besides the budget problems we have a mayor that's hiring all his friends. Now, and I'm going to take this off the budget quickly for a second because I want to know how this is going to pan out. Faust Fiore is an elected member of the Old Rochester Regional School District of their school committee. He is required under city ordinance to be a city resident as a special assistant to the mayor. He has 18 months to comply with that. So in June of next year, is he going to turn around and quit the job as school committee member, or is he going to quit the job as special assistant? And if his plan is to quit the job as special assistant, why not quit now? We don't need that position. We never believed in that position. And all he is a glorified press secretary. And you can't keep doing that. And that's our money. That's our money. And, when I looked at this, and I mean, all weekend I've been working on this, Chip. I mean, even this morning, I get up at 5:30. And I'm answering the phone, and I'm already going over this stuff. This is getting to be nutty.
No, it's nightmarish. It is. And the thing is, as I said, you agonize over this, and I have to say, I've been doing it so long that I don't get crazy over this because I realize that everything I'm looking at is absolute crap.
Right.
Because you're trying to make sense of numbers that really aren't. This is the reason that I have continually, over the years, have said that you know, we have to demand, in order for this city to right this ship, we have to demand an independent forensic audit, account for every single penny, the methodology that we're using to spend the money, and then begin to rebuild the budget with accurate numbers and with accurate priorities. That's the only way we're ever going to correct this, because every mayor that gets in tries to stick their finger in a dike, tries to give their friends jobs, and they rob Peter to pay Paul, move money around. And this budget is, like I said, and get us deeper and deeper in the hole. I think it's obscene that we have a bar graph that's showing that the cost to the public just in real estate taxes and allowances for net of allowances for abatements is 3.5 million, that increase, which basically cancels out. As we said on our show before, you can't get rid of a fee that's already incorporated into the budget without getting the money somewhere else. So now they're going to get it from the taxpayer. And then we also have all the increases, the gigantic increases in our other fees. So welcome to the real world of Fall River, where all we do is spend more money, give more pay raises, and kill the taxpayer, murder them, and then don't even have the common decency to bury them. You know, we just let them lay there and rot like rotting corpses, because that's what this city is, a rotting corpse, because of what they do to this city. It's unconscionable to see this stuff continue to go on, and to see city councilors stand up there and go, I can't believe people can't afford a bag. Well, you're the same city councilor that spouted all the figures about we have one of the lowest incomes in the state and how poor the people are. Well, guess what? The 1%ers don't care. This budget doesn't care. And this budget is flawed to the, 1,000th power. And this budget should not be approved. It should be tabled. There should be a 30-day period to review everything and answer many of these questions. And there should be a resolution to demand, not request, demand an independent audit. And if the mayor won't sign it, our entire city council should march up to Boston and demand that the Attorney General order a forensic audit. Or the hell with it. Let us go into receivership. And then we'll get it by default.
You know, Chip, the problem is this, and we've been going through this problem over and over again. Every single person in the city is screaming, let's have a forensic, well, I shouldn't say every single person, but a good majority of people saying, we need that forensic audit, we need to find out what's going on. Yet, they can't put their pen to paper, and do it. Just put your pen to paper and send a petition in, 7,500 signatures, demanding an independent audit. They don't have a choice at that point. They have to do it.
Yep.
But they don't want to do it.
Well,
okay? They want to complain, but they don't want to do.
Well, I think they'll be ready after they get all these fees and tax increases.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what. What I want to see is, after all this dog and pony show in front of the city council on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I want to see how many city councils complain about getting changes in the budget, less than 10 hours before they're going to meet on the budget, or 12 hours before they meet on the budget, which shows that there were things missed and how many other things were missed that haven't been caught, and complain, yet then they vote on the budget and vote in the affirmative.
Well,
that's what I want to see, because this is what happens all the time. So if we're angry on too bad it's Monday, we are. So you guys out there, stay angry and tell your city councilors to table this budget.
Yeah, and make sure you get out to those budget hearings, hear what's going on. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Wednesday.